Welcome again to another Real Ghosts Radio video. If you'd like to see more of this content and support the channel, feel free to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and share with your friends. Thank you. The story of the Bell Witch is one of the most famous ghost stories in American folklore. It is said to have taken place in Adams, Tennessee, in the early 1800s. According to the legend, a farmer named John Bell and his family began experiencing strange occurrences on their property. They would hear strange noises, such as knocking on doors and walls, and the sound of chains being dragged across the floor. The family members also reported feeling like they were being watched, and some claimed to have seen a strange spectral figure. As time went on, the entity that became known as the Bell Witch began to make itself known more aggressively. It would pull hair, slap faces, and even move objects around the house. The Bell family was terrified and eventually turned to their neighbors for help. As news of the haunting spread, people began to come from miles around to witness the strange occurrences for themselves. The Bell Witch was said to have the ability to speak and would often engage in conversations with those who visited the farm. The Bell Witch also had a particular hatred for John Bell, and it was said that she was responsible for his death. Some believe that the witch poisoned him, while others believe that she simply scared him to death. After John Bell's death, the Bell Witch continued to haunt the family for several more years before suddenly disappearing without a trace. While the story of the Bell Witch is widely believed to be a work of folklore, there are those who claim that it is based on a true story. There are even some who believe that the Bell Witch still haunts the area around Adams, Tennessee to this day. The Amityville Horror is a story about a reportedly haunted house in Amityville, New York, that has become one of the most famous ghost stories in America. In November 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. shot and killed 6 members of his family in the house at 112 Ocean Avenue. A year later, George and Kathy Lutz moved into the house with their 3 children. They claimed to have experienced a series of terrifying paranormal events, including strange smells, unexplained sounds, and ghostly apparitions. According to the Lutzes, they would wake up at 3:15 a.m. every night, which was the time of the DeFeo murders. They also claimed that they saw strange green slime oozing from the walls, and that their daughter had an imaginary friend who was a demonic pig named Jody. Additionally, George Lutz claimed to have woken up one night to find himself surrounded by a swarm of flies in the bedroom. The Lutzes eventually left the house, claiming that they could no longer live there due to the intense paranormal activity. They went public with their story, and it quickly became a sensation, spawning a best-selling book, a popular movie, and several sequels. However, the veracity of the story has been widely questioned over the years. Many people believe that the Lutzes fabricated the entire story in order to make money. Others argue that the Lutzes were simply victims of a hoax perpetrated by the original investigators of the DeFeo murders. Despite the controversy, the story of the Amityville Horror has become a cultural phenomenon, and the house at 112 Ocean Avenue remains a popular tourist attraction. The Myrtles Plantation, located in Street Francisville, Louisiana, is widely regarded as one of the most haunted places in America, with numerous ghost stories associated with the property. The plantation was built in 1796 and has a long and storied history, including reports of murder, tragedy, and sorrow. One of the most famous legends associated with the Myrtles is the story of Chloe, a slave who was said to have been punished for eavesdropping on her master and mistress by having her ear cut off. According to the legend, Chloe sought revenge by baking a poisoned cake which killed 2 of her master's daughters and caused her to be hanged. Her spirit is said to haunt the property to this day, with reports of strange noises, sightings of her ghostly apparition, and the scent of her perfume lingering in the air. Other ghostly occurrences reported at the Myrtles include the ghost of a young girl who died in the house, the ghost of a former owner who was murdered on the property, and the ghostly footsteps of a soldier who died during the Civil War. Many visitors to the Myrtles have reported strange experiences, including feeling a sense of being watched, hearing unexplained noises, and witnessing objects moving on their own. The plantation has been the subject of numerous paranormal investigations, with many investigators claiming to have captured evidence of ghostly activity on camera. While the veracity of the ghost stories associated with the Myrtles plantation is a matter of debate, the property remains a popular tourist attraction and a favored destination for ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts. The Winchester Mystery House is a Victorian mansion located in San Jose, California. It was built by Sarah Winchester, the widow of William Wirt Winchester, who was the heir to the Winchester Repeating Arms Company. According to legend, Sarah Winchester believed that the spirits of those killed by Winchester rifles were haunting her and her family, and that she needed to constantly build and remodel the house in order to appease them. As a result, the house is a sprawling, maze-like structure with many bizarre features, such as staircases that lead to nowhere, doors that open onto walls, and windows that look into other rooms. The house is said to be haunted by several ghosts, including the spirits of those killed by Winchester rifles. Visitors and employees of the house have reported seeing ghostly apparitions, hearing strange noises, and feeling a sense of being watched. One of the most famous ghost stories associated with the Winchester Mystery House is the story of the wheelbarrow ghost. According to legend, a workman was killed on the property while pushing a wheelbarrow, and his ghost is said to haunt the house to this day. Visitors to the house have reported seeing the ghostly apparition of a workman pushing a wheelbarrow or hearing the sound of a wheelbarrow being pushed on the property. While the veracity of the ghost stories associated with the Winchester Mystery House is a matter of debate, the house remains a popular tourist attraction and a favorite destination for ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts. Ordsall Hall is a historic building located in Salford, Greater Manchester, England. The building dates back to the 15th century and is said to be haunted by several ghosts. One of the most famous ghost stories associated with Ordsall Hall is the story of the White Lady. According to legend, a young woman named Margaret Radcliffe lived in the hall during the 16th century. She fell in love with a man who was not approved by her family and was locked in her room as punishment. Margaret tried to escape by jumping from a window, but she fell to her death. Her ghost is said to haunt the hall, dressed in a white gown and wandering the halls at night. Other reported ghostly occurrences at Ordsall Hall include the sound of phantom footsteps, the sight of ghostly apparitions, and the feeling of being touched by unseen hands. Visitors to the hall have reported feeling a sense of unease in certain areas of the building, particularly in the upstairs rooms where Margaret is said to have lived. Despite the reports of ghostly activity, Ordsall Hall remains a popular tourist attraction and a center for cultural events in the Salford area. The hall has been the subject of numerous paranormal investigations, and many visitors have reported experiencing strange and unexplained occurrences while exploring the historic building. The Talbot Hotel is a historic coaching inn located in the town of Oundle, Northamptonshire, England. The building dates back to the 17th century and is said to be haunted by several ghosts. One of the most famous ghost stories associated with the Talbot Hotel is the story of Mary, Queen of Scots. According to legend, Mary was held prisoner in the hotel for a time while under the custody of Sir Amyas Paulet. Her ghost is said to haunt room 9 of the hotel, where she is believed to have stayed during her captivity. Guests have reported feeling a cold breeze and seeing her ghostly apparition, dressed in a long gown. Other reported ghostly occurrences at the Talbot Hotel include the sound of phantom footsteps, the sight of ghostly apparitions, and the feeling of being touched by unseen hands. Guests have also reported objects moving on their own and doors opening and closing without explanation. Despite the reports of ghostly activity, the Talbot Hotel remains a popular destination for tourists and a center for cultural events in the Oundle area. The hotel has been the subject of numerous paranormal investigations, and many visitors have reported experiencing strange and unexplained occurrences while staying in the historic building.